George Miller is back with his latest Furiosa, a revenge film with Chris Hemsworth playing the villain. Why haven't you seen this yet?
Who do we have here?
I'm Furiosa!
Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga, is the prequel to 2015's Mad Max Fury Road. Anya Taylor-Joy takes the helm of the title character, previously played by Charlize Theron. If you're wondering if you have to have seen the previous film to enjoy this one, the answer is no. Although I would personally have to question how someone with an interest in seeing this one had ever missed the other one, but I'll try not to judge. It's hard for me not to compare the two because it's the same Mad Max universe, and although I loved Fury Road, this one is likable in a different way for me. This movie gives more exposition than the 2015 film, which is nice because it answers a lot of questions about Furiosa that many had about that character's origin story. I could give you a plot summary, but my summation of everything that happened in this film wouldn't sway you either way in seeing it or not, so I'll stick with some of my main takeaways. The film is a solid 2.5 hours, so if you're theater bound and have a tiny bladder, be cautious about how much you drink at the beginning of this journey into the wasteland. Anya Taylor-Joy doesn't even make her first appearance until roughly an hour into the story, but does a great job as the vengeful title character. She didn't have many lines in this one, but her facial expressions and emotions went a long way in conveying the gravity or the intensity of the scenes she was in. Chris Hemsworth plays a noteworthy vile villain of Dementus, and I must say he was my favorite character. With the prosthetics he wore in this combined with the voice, I can say with confidence that Hemsworth was completely unrecognizable from his normal heartthrob self. Sometimes I forget how truly underrated some actors are when they aren't given a juicy role like this one to get lost in. I've seen many Chris Hemsworth flicks, but this one stands out to me as his best. Women may disagree in numbers because he doesn't have his normal abs to swoon over in this one, and that nose does wonders to distort his handsomeness, but his performance is excellent. I didn't think this one was as pulse-pounding as Fury Road, but for my money, it was a tale well told. The chase scenes in this are just as unique as its predecessor, and there is no shortage of stunts, that's for sure. If you can suspend your grasp on reality and fall in line with the world that George Miller has created, you should have a good time with this one. From the unique-looking vehicles and motorbikes to the paragliding war rig attackers, this film is a workout for the senses. What they did with these vehicles should really entice any car lovers out there. I think they had as much fun making them as I did watching them. The cinematography was spectacular, and George Miller's artistic touch really comes through with some memorable visuals. I'm not just talking about multiple crashes and explosions, I'm referring to a legitimate, well-framed shot composition that is a feast for the eyes. From landscapes to close-up shots, this film does the action genre justice. I wish I could show you some examples here, but trust me, you're not seeing this movie for the camera placement. You're seeing it for the story. The story is well told. The film is nicely balanced with its lead character development, and her story is obviously the focus here. We get to see Furiosa mask herself to escape one of Immortan Joe's sons at an early age, and by the time she's a young woman, she's managed to learn a thing or two about building and fixing cars, bikes, and big rigs. It has plenty of villains to choose from, and Furiosa is practically the only one you could possibly root for, aside from her pairing with her war rig counterpart, Jack. The hopelessness of this world is felt through and through, at least by me anyway. There are only 3 main warlords that run the Citadel gas town and the Bullet Farm, and each trades with the other for sustainable goods. The Citadel seems to hold all the cards, in my opinion, as they are the only source of abundant food and water. Bullets and gas are hardly necessities compared to life-sustaining resources, in my opinion, but hey, this is the world we are shown on the screen. Immortan Joe is back with his grotesquely unique-looking family of baddies from Fury Road, and even though those who have seen the previous film know their fate, it's always nice to see good villains for the heroes to play off of. Action scenes are plentiful throughout the runtime, and they are a thrill to watch. Although I've never been to a Cirque du Soleil show, I imagine my reactions would be the same there as watching some of these stunt performers do their thing. I'm completely in awe of how they film certain sequences. George Miller is truly a master storyteller, and I'm grateful for his latest Mad Max movie. It saddens me that this latest venture into the wasteland didn't do as well as the studio was hoping in its opening weekend. Will this one win 6 Oscars like his previous opus? Maybe not, but not every story has to be a masterpiece. I, for one, appreciate this prequel because it was still a beautifully filmed piece of art. I can't imagine anyone calling it a piece of crap, because if you do, your standards must be insanely high to not at the very least commend George Miller on his effort here. For an action movie, it checks all the boxes in my opinion. The only thing missing from this one is the male protagonist, which I don't think is a bad thing. Charlize Theron played the part so well that the character deserved her own movie. And although she doesn't return in this one, Anya Taylor-Joy played her perfectly. Hemsworth has enough testosterone in this to fill this sadistic playground of a desert. So if you're a hardcore Mad Max fan and you can't take the fact that he's not in this but for a brief cameo, then I truly feel bad for you, because the story stands on its own. This is worth the IMAX ticket price if you're into it. No nudity, no swearing, and plenty of violence in this flick. Filmed in Australia where no man lives for miles, this movie is sure to get your blood pumping and heart thumping. As always, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Be kind to each other out there.
I will take this girl. Otherwise, it's war.
Deal.